Hello and welcome to my video from the Squire Sunburst project of buffing the polyurethane. So here is what the guitar looked like at the end of the wet sanding phase, all smoothed out and sanded back to 2000 grit. The main tips that I picked up from other YouTube videos going into this was to add a little bit of water to the surface of the body so that the compound would not dry up too fast and the water would reduce the heat in any hot spots that could be generated by the spinning buffing pad. I also learnt to not keep the buffing pad spinning in the one spot for too long. That would create hot spots and possibly ruin the finish. I honestly think that these two main tips are why I didn't run into any problems at all on either the front, back or the sides. Because this was the first time buffing a guitar, and I knew that I could buff the entire guitar by hand, I thought I would try hand buffing with the pads that came in the buffing kit that I also bought, separate to the drill attachment kit. I just wanted to see how much effort it would take and to see how it looked after so much work. I find that it came up to a shiny enough finish fairly quickly, but since I had already bought the attachments for the drill, I was not going to continue by hand. I really wanted to get right into it with the drill bit and see how good of a job can be done with the buffing pads on an electric drill. The buffing compound I chose was a scratch remover level, second closest to the one that would bring up a glass-like finish, they say. I knew that I had to buff up from the 2000 grit state of the polyurethane to a polished condition, so I didn't want to be spinning my wheels with the finest compound straight off the bat. I knew that I could assess the result at the end and go further with the finer compound if I felt I had to. I didn't end up buying the compound that would bring it up to a glass-like finish because I was happy enough with the result that came out from the scratch remover compound. This one foam buffing pad works quite nicely. I have used the same pad across 4 guitars now, but after my next few projects I'm sure that I will change it out for a new one. I believe the common size of the buffing pads used on the handheld buffers are too large for a project the size of a guitar. They are more suited to use on auto projects and larger areas. Also, with the pad that I use being the size that it is, you can see the area that you just moved away from without stopping and lifting the pad away from the body. As this was my first time polishing a guitar, I was experimenting with techniques a little bit. I was changing between pushing down hard with the whole face making contact, and then a skim across the face with just the edge of the buffing pad lightly making contact. Being new to this and not knowing what to look for, I really didn't notice a great difference in the outcome. Neither seemed to have a negative effect. One thing I quickly learnt about using the electric drill with the buffing pad attached is that you do have to keep a tight hold with 2 hands, otherwise it starts spinning out of control, especially when pushing the pad against the surface evenly. As you see, I had 2 cameras running at the same time. One was my Sony Handycam and the other one was my Samsung Galaxy S5. I have synced the 2 videos up so you aren't missing any of the process, as each cut from one to the other is in real time. If this is the only video of mine that you have seen, I have a video specifically explaining this project, what went wrong and what I learned from it. So I know this fake sunburst just doesn't look good, but this is a great way to end a bad project. No, not really. It's just a really good video to demonstrate how I polished my first guitar repaint project and how I did it with a $20 buffing kit, $20 scratch remover compound, and some $3 buffing attachments and my dad's old drill. For the edges, I bought cone and cylinder shaped buffing attachments for the drill. I was going to use the cone shaped for the horns and the cylinder shaped for the sides, but I started with the cone shape and just kept it on the whole time. You can focus on a specific area with the smaller end and move to the larger diameter as you need to. These buffing attachments did a really good job around the sides and the horns of the body. I just had to pass it across each area once or twice and the job was done. It really didn't take too much to bring up the shine. I would highly recommend this type of buffing attachment to anyone that needs to buff the sides of their guitar and does not have a professional buffing wheel. I just couldn't have imagined how well they would work. I can't think of any other type of attachment that would do the same job. This is perfect for the home DIY projects. One main thing that I learnt from using these drill bits, especially this particular attachment, was that if you slip and accidentally lower the chuck onto any part of the guitar body, you're looking at some serious damage. On future projects, I would put masking and duct tape around the chuck and any other moving parts of the drill shaft so that there would be no risk of damage to the finish if this were to happen. Looking at this nasty drill chuck, it would actually do a lot of damage if it were to touch any part of the body during this process. It would only take one slip to do a lot of damage. I did have one slight slip, but I could stop myself before the impact occurred, but it really made me think about this quite seriously. So here is how it turned out. I was really surprised how shiny and mirror-like the polyurethane came up. I was really longing to get to this point for 3 months while I struggled to get the paint job as good as I could. I did hang it up straight away because I found that recently buffed surfaces can become soft and impressionable because of the heat and can take up to 12 to 24 hours to become hard again. So I really hope you got something out of this video. Thank you for watching, and until next time, have a bloody good one.